right, welcome back to game number 2 of the AP StarCraft Christmas Invitational. You guys are loving the snow. Can give some thanks to Partouf for trolling me in chat. Partouf, from me to you, I hate you. Hi, Rifkin. We're casting this on Base Street TV. Partouf, the guy I'm talking to, the man you cannot hear, is of course our observer. Wonderful dude. But yeah, spawning here in the top right corner of Frost with an unexpected game 1 victory. It is the Blue Zerg from Vega Squadron, Alastor. And again, Vega Squadron, we love you, but there was no team logo for us to use. His opponent in the top left, playing for Quantic Gaming, it's the Red Zerg, known as Hyun. So, hoping, with my fingers crossed, that Hyun can bring this back. I guess, definitely a bit of a shaky start in a series. I think he got completely off guard by multiple things that game. I love what he was setting up to do, though, and this is what kills me. Like, as much as I'm happy for Alastor that he won, don't get me wrong, congratulations, Alastor. I'm like, man, Hyun was setting up some cool burrow tech micro. What are you doing? You didn't give him a chance to show it. I don't know if he does necessarily go for it again in game number 2. Burrow alone, forget for a moment that he was going for tunneling claws. Burrow is actually something that I feel is not utilized enough in this game, at least in this matchup, ZVZ. There are some select players who actually make great use of it. Example, Killing Spree's Jake from Quebec has some of the best Roach Burrow specific micro / tactics I've ever seen. That's not to say like there's no Koreans that can live up to that or anything like that. I'm just saying it's cool that you see some people use it, but not enough people use it. So we'll see what ends up happening here in this game. We got the spawning pool coming down from Alastor still. Along with Hyun around relatively even time. Because in fact, I think they went down about within seconds of one another. But again, we see Alastor opening with the gas, and Hyun probably going to open gasless once more. Now, please keep in mind, guys, it's not Hyun's opening that killed him last game. It was simply being A, caught out of position, and B, being forced to funnel through his own choke. That choke works to your disadvantage in rare opportunities, and that's something we did witness. Because by the time Alastor was already at his base, Hyun had to come out of that choke like one roach at a time when he was already behind in the start of that fight. So hopefully he doesn't get cut off by something like that again. It is, however, Frost, a rather large map. Doesn't necessarily mean a macro map. I learned this a long time ago when I started casting. I saw Whirlwind for the first time, and I was like, man, this is a huge map. Everyone's always going to go to the late game on this map. And like 9 times out of 10, games were over in like 8 minutes time. So you can never know what to expect unless you can really read into these players. Now, again, Alastor is not someone I'm too familiar with, but I'm rather impressed after game number 1. And it looks like bases have been revealed for both sides, and we got links coming out to scout one another. God, I love these stronger team colors. Sorry, pardon me, just kind of gushing about this. No, do it. Links from Alastor will be a little bit behind that of Hyun's. Hyun's got a little bit of extra spring in his step, but as before, it looks like Queens will be able to pick this off. Tries to body block a little bit to buy himself a little more time. Kind of a move. Ling does die at the top of the ramp with a very bloody corpse. Hyun scouts that there is no gas being taken once again, so has to be a little bit worried that, okay, maybe there's a speedling all-in coming my way. I kind of like this too. This is something akin to the way I feel Blink works in PvP, where it's like a generically good opener. You know, rushing out speed like this doesn't play to your detriment. You don't have to cut workers, and you don't really sacrifice much to get this. But against a player like Hyun who goes gasless like he was, well, actually he's taking 2 gases much earlier this time. But so with the extra queens out, it's a full wall off. Even the spine crawler coming down once again. It's not easy to break this wall. Getting through with Lings, not exactly the easiest thing in the world to do. And it looks like, once again, he'll try and chase down one of the Overlords to go for a kill. Should be able to get it. Queen's already move faster than Overlords while shooting off creep. It's a weird thing to consider because these are like all the slowest units in the game. But Alastor, either it's confidence brewing from his speedlings or the prediction that Hyun's playing gasless. Either way, well, I shouldn't say prediction, the scouting. It does give him leeway to take this third base a little bit earlier than I think he would have otherwise tried to risk. Hyun's, of course, not moving out anytime soon, just droning like a madman. 12 Lings and some Baneling Nests. Well, actually, the Baneling Nest is going to finish up here in a moment's time, and Alastor is preparing to go for a very aggressive attack. All Hyun has to do, not all, but what Hyun needs to do is scout this coming. If the Overlord sees the Speedlings, if he sees the Baneling Nest, well, see the Speedlings actually coming is not that big of a threat. You're just kind of like, okay, I got my wall off, no big deal. But if you see the Banelings coming and you get really worried, throwing that in a 3rd Evolution Chamber in the choke can completely seal you off your own Frost. Now, Hyun's actually, I think he's kind of messed up the building placement there by like a grid mark, so I can't fully wall this off as easily, but a second spine crawler coming as you did see a massive amount of links run through the north as his Overlord was so nicely positioned there. But yeah, between 3 queens and 2 spine crawlers, even for the banelings, this might not be that big of a threat. Hyun will have to be a little bit cautious. Sorry, 3 spine crawlers coming down. There's no way Alastor gets game-ending damage here. He might catch Hyun off guard with a couple good baneling hits. Hyun with his own metabolic boost finishing in 14 seconds. But here come the banelings. Some good focus fire, some transfuses will be necessary. Goes on the Roach Warren, because of course he needs to keep that building alive. Last couple of banelings will pop off, and the 2 spine crawlers will finish up in just a second. Hyun's Zerglings have been kept hidden away from the banelings, but runs in a little bit too preemptively. This is gonna go. This is gonna hurt the mineral line. Hyun's mineral line is getting destroyed. Those baneling hits were good. There's still one more standing, and he's not focusing it down, running away from it. Beautiful control with those roaches, but still, lots of drones were killed. 10 workers killed, and 4 queens on top of that. Lost the evolution chamber and almost lost his Roach Warren. That being said, Hyun's still in this game. His worker count is still good enough because Alastor had to cut workers to make this happen. The difference is the 3rd base that he has behind this will help him recover quite nicely, whereas Hyun's kind of forced to make either army or drones. He can't do both at the moment. And if he does do both, it's going to cost him and Alastor will start pulling ahead. But what Alastor has is a lot of links. Hyun's got a baneling nest coming. And actually, okay, there, he's got a handful of links at the top of his ramp in the main, so he'll be able to hold this off. As long as the links can't get us around. Ooh, gonna get us to that Roach Warren. Real nice snipe throw out of Alastor. This very aggressive play coming out of our European Zerg player, putting Hyun on his back foot here. Worth noting, guys, by the way, we are playing on the North American server, I believe, to accommodate Hyun, so there's no lag issues here. Hyun's just getting, I don't know. This is probably not the level of aggression he's used to seeing from both North Americans or Europeans, but yeah, Alastor putting it on heavy here. Spinecrows have been in advance forward. Banelings are on the way. As soon as he can clear out these Zerglings, he can look to go for a counterattack. And Alastor's only just started his Roach production. Like, he is going to be behind Hyun for the initial attack. Now, whether he stays behind is going to be a whole nother question, a whole nother can of worms, so to speak. But Banelings being morphed in defensively. Now, these are actually not too bad versus Roaches. They're not good, don't get me wrong, but they're not bad, because the splash damage is still pretty decent versus units that clump, like, for example, Roaches. So focusing them down, they're going to take some hits for surezies. Looks like here come the banelings of Hyun, and unfortunately, most of them are being popped off by the Roaches. Oh no, he's got to be so careful. He splits up his banelings. Hyun with the control, still loses 5 for that hit. Connects a lot of his to the Roaches of Alastor, though, and will send him packing. He might not be going for the mineralized, but he's going to go for the Roaches. So if he can get ahead in this regard, he'll be in a pretty good spot. One last baneling goes off on the drones, but of course, it's not enough to kill them. But the Roach count out of Hyun is looking fantastic. 11 Roaches to 7, and he's got a hell of a lot of lings in Alastor's base. Saying, all right, buddy. All right, game 1 was just luck. I can take it back in game 2, and this is looking pretty darn good. Still it's that 3rd base, but good game, well played is called, and Hyun will even this up already 1-1.